Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in.
Hello and welcome back to episode 154 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. We would just like to bring something up, which I noticed when we were watching the podcast back last week. I looked like I was the elephant man. I looked like I had one massive arm.
It's strange. I think it's something to do. So we're obviously the way that we've set everything up and we hadn't noticed it before. I'm just looking at it now. And when you sit like this, all right, if you listen to the podcast, this arm looks really small and this one looks really big. I think it's the angle that we're at. And it is very strange.
It looked awful.
I think it's something...
We didn't have any comments about it, so... People will go back and I'll watch it and go, oh, yeah.
Look at the massive arm that they've both got. So, yeah, I think it's the angle.
Yeah.
But I think we're just going to have to deal with that. Siân's wearing one of my...
I am.
Well, I was going to say old shirts. It's not. It's from the most recent season. You didn't get the black one, did you?
No, I didn't. No. But I usually wear our T-shirt with our logo on it. But I thought, because of last week's issues with the big arms, I thought maybe I'll kind of not wear it. Yeah, not wear white. But as it stands, it doesn't matter what colour I wear. I look like I've got a massive arm.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Just gonna have to deal with that for a bit, and we'll try and sort that out. I am wearing this week the 2020-2021. There's lots of 2020 shirt. So it's when Rob and Ryan took over. This is the shirt that we had when they took charge. I think we finished.
Don't like it.
You don't like this one?
No.
Well, do you know what I really like about it? At the bottom, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. You probably
it's got
can.
The race course.
It's actually got the Mould Road stand on the bottom of it, which I'd forgot about until I put it on today, and I do quite like that because that's obviously where we sit.
That's the only bit that I like about it.
Yeah,
obviously the Wrexham badge. I like that bit.
Yeah, it's a shirt that I don't wear that often, and there is a very good reason for it. Is for some reason. So what?
Because it's horrible.
No, not because it's horrible, no. The main reason I don't wear it is everyone, I'm sure most Wrexham fans now who've bought a shirt know the issue with Macron sizing. How, if you're a medium, buy a large. If you're a large, buy an extra large. That's just the way Macron is. And for some reason, so I'm a medium normally, so all my shirts are large. But for some reason, this year, I bought a medium. So it is quite tight. But with my amazing nutrition and weight loss, I can actually fit into it. And it actually feels quite good, actually.
Which I can guarantee, he's talking about his really good nutrition. I can guarantee that will change in the next month because we're going on holiday.
Oh, yeah, 100% it will.
Yeah.
But, it's all leading to holiday body, isn't it? But I'm quite chuffed, actually. I'm proud. I've lost 18 pounds. No, some may say I didn't need to lose it, but
you hope that's what they'll say.
You might, but I like to look good and feel good when you're on holiday, don't you? You got your body out a bit more than you do in your own country, don't you? So
I care a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't care enough to do anything about it.
Yes. That's fair enough.
So anyway, on this week's show, we are going to be talking about our first signing of the summer transfer window, which is exciting. We also talk about Paul Mullin's future. There's been lots and lots of things going on this week on social media regarding this. We take a look at 2 more championship teams. We look at the episode 7 of the Welcome to Wrexham documentary, another transfer rumour, and obviously the non-negotiable quiz.
The non-negotiable quiz. Yeah, but I am giving you what you wanted. Last week we did anagrams. You struggled a little bit, even though you like anagrams. How many did you get? Do you remember? Was it 2?
Yeah.
I think you got 2 out of 5. You wanted anagrams again, so I've done anagrams again for you. So I've given it a literally.
That's nice because I know how much you hate anagrams.
I do. Yeah.
You hate
but I do
anagrams.
quite like putting them together. I just don't like solving them. So, yeah. So I think it's been hot this week. It's been so hot, and yesterday was. I would go as far as to say disgusting. The weather yesterday, it was horrible. It was hot and sticky. I enjoy warm weather, but it was bad yesterday. In our house, it was bad anyway. We had quite a boring day, didn't we? Where we we just did lots of like businessy stuff and stuff with HMRC and stuff like that. But it was so we spent a lot of time indoors. We ate outside, which was really nice. But even then, it was a bit hot outside, wasn't it? And we're not one of these couples who just moan about nice weather. We do like nice weather, but I don't know. I did a lot of work in the garden because Siân keeps banging on this podcast about me not cutting the grass. So I did that, and I sorted a few things out in the garden. So I think I raised my body temperature during the morning, and it just never went away. So
I went to my mum and dad's as they're on holiday, and to water their plants, and I couldn't use their hose pipe, so I had to just use a bog standard. Oh no, I used a watering can actually, which I've never used before. Weirdly,
never used a watering can.
But literally, when I got back into the car, it started raining. I was livid. But anyway,
this isn't very Wrexham related, is it? All of this.
Well, it happened in Wrexham, so
yes, yeah, all right. I think because of the heat, because of the weather, I think for the next few weeks we may well try and do slightly shorter episodes, so we're not stuck in the studio in like sweltering heat, because
it's cool at the minute though.
It's cool at the minute, so yeah, we'll power on. Anyway, first new signing of the transfer window.
Another Ryan.
The Ryans are taking over.
Who have we got now? Ryan Barnett, Ryan Longman, Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Hardie.
Yes.
4
of them, and Ryan from Me, the Wife from Wrexham AFC.
And I'm sure there'll be loads more Ryans in the as fans as well. So
I tell you now, the Ryans are taking over.
So God help us all.
So Ryan Hardie, striker, 28 years old. We talked about him last week. Wrexham did a very kind thing and waited until after the release of our last episode, where we talked about him as a transfer rumour. They very kindly waited until after the episode aired before announcing it. So thank you very much, Wrexham, for doing that. As we said last week, he's 28, born in Stranraer in Scotland, very strong Scottish accent.
Do you think he's going to be our next Scottish Viking? Now that Stephen Fletcher's gone?
No, he's not. He doesn't look. The reason Stephen Fletcher was called that is because how he looked, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
He's not. No, but it's nice having. I do like having. Because we were very much an English team, really, weren't we? In the players that we had and the personnel that we had, so it's nice to get a few Celts involved in the team again.
Do you not class Irish as Celts?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not. It's like, we weren't overrun with Celts where we
were for a bit.
There's a lot more English. My point is,
oh, right,
so
okay.
I'm just saying it's nice to get some people involved that aren't English. Anyway, signed from.
We don't have anything against English people, by the way.
No, we don't. Signed from Plymouth. 37 league games last season, 12 goals in the Championship. We talked about all this last week. But yeah, it was rumoured. So he did have 12 months left on his contract. It was rumoured that we paid about 700,000 for him, which I've got to be honest is a great bit of business, because very good striker.
Championship quality, scored,
like we said last week, 12 goals in the Championship last season in a struggling Plymouth team. I think, to get someone like that for only 700,000, if that is true, is great business. But we don't know. It was undisclosed, as it always is,
as per
usual. So for you now, looking at the squad, who plays up front for you? So who's your front two?
Well, I think it's quite easy to say. I think Sam Smith, definitely.
Yeah.
He's shown some great skill and quality in the last, the season whilst he was there, because he wasn't
half
there.
Half a season. Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a tough one. Like, I like Jay Rodriguez, and like you said last week, I still don't get this, but I kind of do a bit more. I mentioned that I don't understand how players who have come from the Championship and played in the Premiership as well. Premiership?
Yeah, that's an old
That
reference.
is an old say.
Premier
Premier
League.
League.
Yeah.
Kind of come down to League One and didn't. I mean, he scored a couple of goals, but he wasn't like banging them in left, right, centre. But like you said, he may kind of come into his own in the Championship.
He may do.
I would like to see what Jay Rodriguez can do in the Championship for us. But also, we've just spent 700,000 on this new striker, Ryan. He's Championship pedigree. He's been there, done that. So it would be nice to kind of get him, off
straight in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you're buying a striker like that, you've bought him for a reason. He plays well in the Championship. I think he's going to go straight in. Although, in the past, we have very much seen with lots of players that we have signed that we've been excited about. They just don't fly straight into the team. We had, I remember when Elliot Lee came, and it took him a while to break into the team. Quite a few subs appearances before he was sort of let loose on the starting 11. Ollie Rathbone was the same when we signed him.
Look at them now. So maybe it's a good tactic to do that, maybe.
Maybe. Or, perhaps because he's been signed so early in the window, he literally has, a lot of June, all of July,
They've got the
to
tour
work
of Australia.
All of that stuff. So perhaps he will go straight into the team. We don't know. I mean, any other club and any other manager, I think it would be... People would be baffled if you were talking about, does he go straight in the team? We're just talking about it because of history dictates. That's not really what Parky does. It's what he does with January signings. I remember Ollie went straight into the team. Ollie Palmer went straight into the team when he arrived. Sam Smith straight in the team when he arrived. But it's a different animal, isn't it, signing a player in January
during the season?
To signing someone during the summer. So I don't know. I think for me, it's strange, really, because I think the natural choice here is to go Hardie and Smith up front.
Yep.
I think that's the natural choice.
Yep.
And like you said, we've invested in a player here. He's going to be on decent wages. Let's get him up and running, get a partnership with Smith. Although I have watched Ryan Hardie a bit, and he does play a little similar to Sam Smith in the way that he likes to sit on the shoulder of the last defender, spin in behind, make runs in behind. He plays in lots of different ways. He is very versatile as a striker. So maybe he is a little similar, but I probably think he's different enough to partner Smith. And I think he's got a bit of height about him as well to win balls in the air, but very much a player who likes to run in behind. So, look, I'm excited. I think as a first signing, I think it's... Well, I'll go into the comments, and I think the first comment sort of echoes what I was saying. It was Tony Christensen said, a solid signing. He said more. I'll read that in a second. And I think for me, that's how it sort of feels. Tony said a solid signing, but I'm still waiting for that statement signing, perhaps not a striker. I think that's sort of how I feel. I think it's a great signing. Mm-hmm. I think, to get someone from the Championship, can score in the Championship. And for me, it's a solid first signing. But maybe I am still waiting for that wow moment.
Or like Kevin De Bruyne or something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
I know it's not, but that would be a statement signing for me. Somebody who's come from a really good Premiership team. I keep saying Premiership, Premier League team. I know that's probably that. Never say never.
Probably not going to happen. It is not going to happen. The last time I looked at Kevin De Bruyne's wages, which was maybe last season actually, because I like to keep abreast of what players are earning, and I think he was on 320,000 a week. Okay, so
to be on 320,000 a week.
I can't imagine he's going to take. He will take a big pay cut because he's not going to get what he was on at City. Even if he slashed it to a third of what he was on, we would still not be paying that. So, get players like that out.
When I say Kevin De Bruyne, I mean for me that sort of statement signing.
Yes,
is what is.
I think for me it's going to be very different. I think a statement signing for me is going to be maybe ex-Premier League, but a top quality Championship player whom perhaps you're not going to know who they are. So I think
I didn't even know who Ryan Hardie was.
No, so I think our idea of a big statement signing is very different. And I think
because I don't know as many players.
Perhaps, yeah. And I think I think when we do make a big signing, I think our reactions are going to be very different to that signing. JB said, "Let's go, more balls in the back of nets, please."
Dav Williams feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good. Eric, looks like everyone is taking the next step seriously. What a signing.
Yeah, Ken said feeling good as well. Rick, 20 goals, please. And Morris O'Grady said excellent.
What?
Agenemans.
Gutted to lose him at Argyle. In a year of bad, he was an absolute standout, scored so many of our goals, including in our FA Cup run. Yeah, so that was obviously a Plymouth fan.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
So we did mention earlier on, see, it's such an awkward time to record the summer. So we know... Yeah, I'm just going to say we know. We know that the club has signed 2 more players, okay? But at time of recording, they haven't announced that they have signed anyone. But we know that they have. So we can't talk about that. We've just got to move on and hope they don't announce it before 6 p.m. on Monday when this episode comes out. Because at this moment in time, at lunchtime on Sunday, they haven't announced anything. If they do during the show, then during the record, then I'm sure we'll get a notification and we can talk about it. But at this moment, they haven't. So fingers crossed it's similar to Ryan Hardie and they don't actually announce it until this episode comes out because we can't talk about the 2 new players. But there are 2 new players to look forward to this week. When that will be, we don't know.
I did a post actually before we started recording on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. A couple of comments have come back saying Jamal, what's his name?
I don't know because I don't know what the comment was, so I can't.
I'll have to hang on.
Do you want me to come back to you?
No, Jamal, his name's Jamal. Someone said avoid him. Something. You must know the footballer with the surname Jamal or first name Jamal.
I don't know. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Can't help you on that one. Shall I move on?
Yeah.
Okay. There is one transfer rumour that I do want to talk about. His name is Owen Beck.
Never heard of him.
No, a lot of people won't have. So he's only 22. He's a left back, which is obviously where Jimmy plays at the moment. But as I say, very young, only 22. He's currently at Liverpool. He's only made 1 appearance for Liverpool, and that was in a League Cup game. He's had 4 loan spells during his time at Liverpool. Quite normal for young players at Liverpool. You know, you will get young players breaking into the first team. You know, Trent as an example, going back. You know, you got Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler. Young players do break in, but the majority of the young players at Liverpool will be signed to Liverpool, but they'll just go out on loan to various different clubs. His first loan spell was Famalicão, maybe.
Yeah, sounds Portuguese.
They're in Portugal. He didn't make any appearances for them, and he got recalled. So he's made 3 in the UK. He played 5 games for Bolton a few seasons ago, 25 for Dundee, and last season he played 24 games for Blackburn in the Championship. Obviously, we're on the lookout for Championship quality players.
Yep.
He played a big chunk of games in the Championship last season. He's been signed to Liverpool for quite a few years. They obviously think a lot of him. He was born in Wrexham. Another reason why we've been heavily linked with him. He didn't have any time at the Wrexham Academy sort of level. I think he was at Flint, if I'm honest. And then he went from Flint to maybe Tranmere. Flint and Tranmere are, you know, obviously quite linked. There's a bit of a link between them two.
Is there?
Yeah. He's played 14 games for the Wales under-21s as well. Huge prospect. He looks like a really good player. He is the great nephew of Ian Rush.
Was Ian Rush born in Wrexham?
In Flint. So Ian Rush was born in Flint.
Okay.
So I think it's Ian Rush's sister is Owen Beck's grandmother. I think that's a great nephew, isn't it? Yeah. So there's a big connection there. This would be a great signing. I'm not going to lie. I've seen him play a few times. Very good player. I think we now need to be looking. Jimmy, at the age he is, still very fit. I think we need to be looking at younger players and starting to develop players in that area. We obviously brought Seb in. I'm not sure how. It's hard to judge Seb because I haven't really seen him enough. No. I don't think. He may keep developing and be someone that we see more of in the future. But at the moment, we haven't seen a lot of him. That would be a very good signing. Is he one of the two? I don't know. I'm just putting this out there as a transfer rumour. And we'll just see what happens, I think. Yeah, happy. I think we'll move on.
Someone has commented saying Tom Lawrence is one of the new signings.
Yeah. Look, I think the thing that we've heard.
Should we just move on because we can't talk about it?
No, it's probably safer to do that in case I say something that I shouldn't. Yes. So we'll move on. Just be patient. It's coming. It's coming this week. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Look, let's talk about Paul. So there's been a rumour this week, hasn't there? Last week, sorry. That it was actually Pete O'Rourke who reported this on some day last week. Was it maybe Wednesday or Thursday? I think last week.
I think it was.
Yeah. So Pete O'Rourke he's like a correspondent for the Footy Insider. Very knowledgeable, knows his stuff. If he puts something out there, generally it's true. He's not some sort of clickbait reporter who just throws Wrexham's name out left, right and centre just for the sake of it. You know, if he knows something and he reports it, it tends to be what is actually happening. He reported that Wigan are actually in advanced talks to take Paul Mullin on loan next season.
Somebody, I put a post about this on socials, and somebody commented saying he's not going out on loan, he's going for good, but he's actually still in contract with us, so unless they pay a big exit fee for him, I don't think he will be going for good.
Let's put it like this. I don't think Wigan really have got... Wigan aren't a club who are going to spend a lot of money.
No.
They take a lot of players on loan. We had a little chat with Barry. Barry does the Progress with Unity podcast, the Wigan podcast. He's head of the Wigan Supporters Association, I think,
Something
as
like
well.
that, yeah.
And he'd heard the rumours have been flying around from the Wigan side as well. We've spoke a lot with Barry, and Barry's told us in the past that the owners are not willing to spend money, and they so if it is a deal that's going to go through, it is something that's going to be on loan. That is what's going to happen. So what are your thoughts, Sean?
Well, if he's going to go to anywhere, Wigan, because obviously we love Barry, so I think it'd be a good move for him. He's not. I feel bad for him because he really wants to have at least one game in the Championship. But I feel if he goes out on loan, I don't know how I feel. I feel quite indifferent about it, to be honest. It's kind of bittersweet, isn't it? It's it's sad for us Wrexham fans, but it's good for him, for his career. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it at this moment.
No, I'm sort of with you. I think I feel like I should have stronger feelings about it, but I think I sort of feel a bit ambivalent in this, because I think it's probably the best thing for him to do. Because like he'd sort of brought up in the documentary, he doesn't feel like Parky really trusts him anymore. I think
that makes me so sad.
I know. I sort of said this last week. I think the ideal scenario for me would be for him to smash pre-season, put it in Parky's head that, oh God, I've got to make a decision here. What am I going to do? And make him make that decision. Whereas if he goes on loan, that's not going to happen. And I'm not saying he's ever going to play for us ever again, but I don't know, really. It just feels like the club's moving on, and and I think I was quite sad about Paul 6 months ago, but I think I've sort of dealt. It's sort of like a grief, isn't it? I've sort of dealt with that now. Look, he's either not the player that he once was, or he's struggled. He's not, whatever it is. You've dealt with that, and we've, as a fan base, and you've sort of moved on. And now we've got Ryan Hardie, and we've got Sam Smith, and we've got Jay Rodriguez, and football's,
and the other two new players.
Yeah, and that's just football at the end of the day, and you've just got to go, okay, all right, well, thanks for everything you've done, but we're moving on now. And it does seem harsh. It's
literally as cutthroat as that, isn't it?
It is, and as a fan, I think you've just got to accept that, and you've just got to move on.
Yeah,
we had loads of comments about this. Top Cat said, to be honest, he needs to play. If he cannot be guaranteed a starting place at Wrexham, then he needs to go somewhere where he is. The day was going to come where he was not first choice with us, sadly. But that's football, and let's not forget the bigger picture. Good luck, Paul.
Karen Barales, I love to see him.
Karen?
That's what I just said.
You said Karen, yeah.
Ken. It's because I was reading the surname. Ken Barales, sorry. I'd love to see him go out on loan and find his form. If he's willing, a recall feature as part of the loan would be fantastic. That's more important than who pays his wages.
I think that's important because we know
I thought that was an automatic thing.
Not usually. I mean, okay. You'll get a point, and it's usually a gentleman's agreement in it. Look, we're not going to recall him. But, it's... Yeah. I think it's an important point. We know what Paul can do. So we do... If he goes... It's sort of a win-win for us. If he goes to Wigan and he absolutely tears it up and he's amazing, thanks, we'll have him back. He can have a go at doing that for us. But once he does come back...
You have to remember, though, Wigan are still a League One team.
Yeah,
so is that Paul Mullin's...
I get that, but what I'm saying is when he comes back to us, he's then in the shop window, isn't he? And we get a decent price for him. So, it's the way it is. Eric, great move, and we need the financial space for some more signings. Also a very good point. It's not necessarily, about creating, with a lot of clubs, you've got to create the revenue to go out and buy the players. We're not really in that position where we have to generate the revenue by selling players to buy other players, but we do need to free up that, as Eric says, that financial space on the wage bill to because I dare say Paul's on a decent amount. The performances and the goals that he's scored over the last few seasons, each season he's probably been able to demand a higher and higher wage because of what he's done for us.
Yeah.
Dav Williams needs game time, and he won't get it at Wrexham because we've hit the ground running. We have to hit the ground running in the Championship. Very unfortunate injury, but always a legend, and hopefully he returns to us after scoring goals again for Wigan. Wrexham fan. That is I'm not just being very generic. That is their name on X.
Wrexham fan 3, to be precise.
Sad, but wanting Paul to be able to play and smash it. Yeah.
Gareth Collins, hopefully he'll get plenty of games at Wigan, get his goal scoring confidence back, and then return to us at his peak. To be fair, the way Sam Smith ended the season, I'd have started Sam as our main striker too. With the Championship beckoning, we couldn't wait for Mulls to rediscover his magic touch.
That's true. Wrexham bloke. It does sound like I'm being really generic here, but I'm sure that it will be good for him. Wigan fans, though, for him. Wigan fans, though
few are decent.
Few are decent, sorry. Seems like a bit of a last-ditch attempt to possibly get back to form, or maybe a permanent move. Could be an excellent move for him. I think geographically it works, doesn't it? Because we all know that he's got strong ties with his family and with Liverpool, and he doesn't want to be too far away from that. Wigan just seems perfect. For me.
Rob JJ, as long as we have a recall option and we've made it clear to him he'll be back in when he finds his form, then this is better than selling him.
Todd Cross went, no! That's it. End of statement.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, let's move on. We are obviously going to talk a little bit more about the Australia and New Zealand tour in a few weeks' time. We'll have a couple of guests on who are based over there to sort of talk about the tour when that's coming about. But we did have a message this week. It said, "Hi guys, Darren here from Perth, Western Australia. As I'm flying from Perth to Melbourne to watch Wrexham, I wanted to see if you guys can ask any listeners if they are coming to the games here in Australia and New Zealand. Would be great if some people from Wrexham are going. They can help us sing the songs. Thanks again for all your work." So it's just a little sort of shout out. If there are any people from Wrexham who are listening to this, go in, comment on this video on YouTube, send us a message, whatever you want to do, and we'll pass that on to Darren, because Darren seems very keen.
I feel like Cilla Black.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Will everyone know who Cilla Black is?
Probably not, no.
No, probably not.
Well, I think Wrexham people will, obviously.
Yeah.
People in Britain.
Yeah, maybe.
So, welcome to Wrexham. Episode 7 aired Thursday/Friday last week. So it talked about the Wycombe game when we played away, and it also it talked about obviously the medical emergency that happened, which was obviously we remember that happening.
Yeah.
But it was quite, because obviously the gentleman who had the heart attack, thankfully, is okay. But first of all, it was talking to his wife and his daughter, who actually lives in New York.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
And she obviously was watching the game and thought, "Oh my God!" Tried ringing her dad. Her dad didn't answer. And then obviously her mum tried, and a doctor answered, and it was just all like, "Oh my God!" Can you imagine being in that position?
Yeah.
Being all the way over in New York.
I know.
And yeah, it was.
I think it's a huge testament to the staff at Wycombe, isn't it? And their fast action, and he even made the comment, that being at the football probably saved his life. If he was it was a little bit later and he was walking back to the train station, he probably wouldn't have survived. If it was earlier and he hadn't got to the ground, he probably wouldn't have survived. Because the chances of surviving a heart attack outside of hospital are quite slim. And I think the episode was sort of suffixed with getting people to learn CPR, which is so important.
You can do it for free. It doesn't cost you anything.
No.
I think you go to the British Heart Foundation website, and I think it's there. So, like the gentleman's wife said, I think his name was Mr. Lawrence. I think that was his surname, wasn't it? Or was his first name Lawrence? I can't remember. Sorry. But his wife was just desperately trying to get people to do this free CPR course, and rightly so. It takes a few minutes to learn, and potentially you could be a person that saves somebody's life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a first aider. Siân's a first aider as well, and it is really important. And you don't have to go out and become a first aider. You know, you can just do something as basic as this, and it is really important. And it was nice to see him on the episode, and doing well.
So well, considering a few months earlier,
he's really he's gone a bit far. Some may say just to get on the documentary.
Yeah,
but no, fair play to him. He's to come on and talk about it, and I think it's really important. It's quite scary to see something like that happen, even when it's somebody that isn't sort of connected to you and close to you, but it is part of the Wrexham family, so it does feel like it is somebody that you know. I think the rest of the episode, we had Jay Rodriguez talking about his lack of goals, and then I think we had the Stockport game just after that, where obviously he messed up the penalty but scored the rebound, so he got his first goal. We've sort of already touched on Jay in this episode, haven't we? And it'd be interesting to see how he features next season, because I'm not sure how it's going to go for him, but he might come into his own.
I feel like there is a place for him.
Yeah, I do, definitely.
Depending how regularly that will be. Or, whatever. But I think time will tell. But yeah, I definitely think there's some sort of little space for him.
Yeah, I do think so. We got to meet Bryn Owen. He was
that's a proper Welsh name, that, isn't it?
It is. He was the under-18s goalkeeper. Seemed like a really nice, mature lad. I am going to break a few hearts now, but Bryn actually got released by Wrexham last month, I think it was. So he's not actually at Wrexham anymore, Bryn, which is I know a lot of people who watch the documentary won't be aware of that, but Bryn isn't at Wrexham anymore. He's actually doing a lot of coaching. Bryn is, so he's got one of the UEFA licenses, so I can't remember which one it is.
That's amazing. To be fair.
So he is doing a bit of coaching. I think he was. I think I saw him he'd been coaching. I think it was the Man City under-16 goalkeepers, and he'd also done a bit of coaching of another club. I'm not sure. So I remember the Man City one that stuck in my head. But yeah, good luck to him. Good luck, because he does seem like a really.
He's got his head screwed on.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Good friends with Harry Ashfield as well. So, yeah, I am. I will keep a close eye on Bryn, I think, and see how he gets on. As far as I'm aware, he hasn't got another club, but he has thrown himself into his coaching.
But that's maybe something he'd rather pursue than, because he did say in the documentary, like you as a goalkeeper, you're either. He actually got into goalkeeping by mistake, didn't he? Obviously,
yeah, because no one wants to go in goal, and they just chucked him in there.
And he never left the goal, to be fair. No. But he did say that as a goalkeeper, you're either, a god These aren't word for word, but
hero or villain.
Hero or villain. There, that's what he said. And maybe he doesn't want to be a villain. Maybe he just wants to. He just wants to help people. Kind of live their dreams. So yeah, it's good luck to him.
Yeah, definitely. We had a couple of games, didn't we? We had the Exeter win away. Which obviously Jay got his second goal. Actually managed to score that penalty. Didn't need a follow up on that one. We had the miserable 2-2 draw against Cambridge. As we all know, we failed to beat Cambridge on both occasions last season. A team down the bottom, and it's weird, isn't it? Because it reminds you that there were times during the season where you were just like, we're throwing this away now. And that definitely felt like after such a big win at Wycombe, following it up with the Exeter game win, and then you drop points against Cambridge and go, right, we're throwing it away again now. And then we also obviously had the Burton game where Anthony Ford came back.
That was funny when Ryan Reynolds said to him, he said, "I hate that shirt, by the way."
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was. And the thing that really... obviously the guy who had the heart attack in the episode, that was quite, it was quite touching and it's quite sort of emotional to watch that. But another bit that really sort of plucked at my heartstrings a little bit, that maybe didn't at a lot of other people, was the Burton game. And it was Ollie watching the game at home and not being involved anymore. And people can say what they want about Ollie Palmer. He's still a person. Still a human being, and to be so involved and then to be sat at home watching all your mates doing the job that you do and you're not allowed to be involved, it must be so tough.
And his son asked him, "Are you an icon?" Oh my God, that broke my heart. Because you could tell when Ollie Palmer was answering it, he was just like,
yeah,
I don't think he knows himself anymore.
I know.
It's really sad.
It is, and it's sort of like, he is... I don't know. It got to me a bit, that bit. So, but yeah, look, a very good series that we've had so far. Looking forward to episode 8. We're coming to the business end of the season. We obviously all know what happens.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. No spoilers. People...
I watch it. Do you know, I said this to you whilst we were watching the documentary. We're watching the games. Obviously, it's based on football, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's Wrexham club. But when you're watching it and you're watching the games, and because obviously you went to most of the games, all the home games.
Yeah.
But it just kind of you just want to get back into the race course or wherever they're playing, and watch them. And it's just I'm so excited about August the 9th,
8th,
August.
So yeah, let's just say August. I think so. The first championship game is going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, spread across 3 days.
Hopefully, we'll be on a Saturday.
We won't be. I can guarantee that now.
Why?
I can guarantee you we will not be playing at 3:00 on Saturday. I can guarantee it. So the games, there'll be a game on Friday night, there'll be a game on Sunday. So it's the 8th, 9th and 10th of August, I think.
So the 8th is the Friday?
It is indeed, yes. Look, we're going to have another look at, we're going to have a look at another 2 championship teams that we're due to face next season. First one is Watford, founded in 1881. They play at Vicarage Road, which is 177 miles away, about 3.25 hours. The thing that springs to mind when I say Watford, is it the same thing? What springs to mind when I say Watford to you?
EastEnders.
No, that's Walford.
No. Watford, I don't know.
The thing that springs to mind for me is when we went to the FA Trophy final, we parked in Watford and we got the train in, didn't we? Yeah, that's whenever I see Watford playing or I hear Watford, it just reminds me of the FA Trophy final because that's where we parked and got the train. Anyway, that's not relevant to anybody listening, just to us. But there we go.
People may have parked in Watford.
They might have done. They might have done. Vicarage Road has a capacity of 22,200. They finished 14th in the Championship last season on 57 points, which was 11 points off the playoffs, but 8 points off relegation. That is just how tight the Championship was.
So scary.
Last season. They've spent the last 3 seasons in the Championship. Since 1998, they've spent 19 seasons in the Championship and 8 in the Premier League. The last league games with them were in the 97-98 season in Division 2, which is now League 1. We drew 1-1 at the racecourse and lost 1-0 at Vicarage Road. Nickname is the Hornets. Obviously, that is due to their yellow and black kit and badge.
You say obviously, but it might not be obvious.
It might not be. They play in yellow and black. So that is why they're nicknamed the Hornets. Biggest local rivalries with Luton Town, and that rivalry's pretty much been going since both clubs started in the 19th century.
Wow, that's mad. That's a long-standing feud.
Somewhere I want to go. The other thing that sort of, when I think of Watford, we were coming back from the FA Trophy final. Mm-hmm. We were on the train heading back to Watford. And we were talking. Do you remember the sort of elderly couple that we were talking to?
I do.
They were both Watford, so it's a husband and wife. They must have been in their mid to late 60s, possibly. Well, look, they're not going to be listening to this, so if we've offended them by saying that, it doesn't matter because I don't think they're ever going to see it. But yeah. Mid to late 60s, I think they were Watford fans. We got talking to them. Watford had just played Chelsea in the last game of the season away at Stamford Bridge. They'd been to the game and they were heading back to Watford. We had a good chat with them. It was really nice. And I sort of looked at them and go, is that going to be me and you in 25 years? Just going to the games still.
I like that.
Yeah, I do. And it's what it made me think, really.
Aww. Sitting there with our flask of coffee.
Yes.
Blankets over our knees.
A flask. I think when you're in your late 60s, you can get away with walking into a ground with a flask and a blanket. And then I could just fill mine with Madry. Couldn't I?
You could.
And I wouldn't have to buy a beer ever again.
Yeah, but now you can't do that because people will be like, in 70 years' time? Not 70 years' time, but 40 years' time? How old will we be in 40 years' time? I don't know.
In 40 years' time, I'll be 83.
So, that's good.
Okay, all right, yeah.
That's really awful.
Just don't stop worrying about getting old. It's going to happen to everyone.
Okay, moving on. So our next team that we're going to talk about today is Birmingham City.
I don't think we need to talk about them. But in the interest of fairness, I don't think there's anybody who's listening to this who doesn't know who Birmingham City is. But they are one of our opponents next season, so we are going to talk about them.
Can I speak now?
Of course you can.
So they were founded in 1875. They play at St Andrews, which is 73 miles away, which is about an hour and a half, which is not too bad, actually. Capacity is 29,409. Champions of League One last season with 111 points.
Which is, it's the highest ever EFL points total. Nothing else to say. You can move on. We have got 111, but that was in the National League, not in the EFL. So that is the record for points in the EFL.
Okay. Apart from last season, they've spent every season since 1995 in one of the top 2 tiers, which is crazy. No wonder they won League One. 7 of the seasons they've spent in the Premier League. Last time we played them was obviously last season, so very recent. We lost 3-1 at St Andrews. We were there. It was horrendous. Moving on. And drew 1-1 at the racecourse, which was a better game.
It was a much better game. It's a game we should have won as well.
Yeah.
Really should have won. I think a lot of Birmingham fans said they hadn't seen them so sort of panicky. All of their midfield was missing through injury.
Yeah.
So they did give us a bit of a boost, but I think maybe we should have really put them to the sword that night, but we didn't.
So the nickname is the Blues. They play in blue shorts. No, they don't. They play in blue shirts with white shorts. Their main rival is Aston Villa, but they haven't played them since 2019.
No.
So yeah, I would like to go back to Birmingham. Just to meet Jay, to be honest.
Yeah, because so Jay, good friend of ours, he does the Boy in Blue, not podcast, YouTube channel. We get on with him really well. Unfortunately, we didn't get to meet up with him at either game, did we?
No.
He works shifts similar to me, and
he probably works a lot harder than you do, to be fair. His shifts are a lot longer.
Anyway, so it just sort of fell because Sky decided to move both of the games. One was on a Thursday night and the other was on a Monday night, and it wasn't really conducive to meeting up. So we didn't. So fingers crossed.
When we played them away, because obviously we went to the game, didn't you have to get up at like 4:30?
Yes. So
we got home about 12:30, didn't we?
Yeah. So it was a nightmare. So we. It's like Siân said, it's an hour and a half. But getting out of the area after a Birmingham game is horrendous. We didn't get home till about 1:45 in the morning. I think we got to bed at about 1, got to sleep about 1:15, 1:30, and then I was up at 4:00 to go to work. So yeah,
I think it would have made it a bit easier if we'd won the game.
But
the fact that we
100%,
lost
100%,
sort of made
100%.
it that little bit harder to get up. Anyway.
Look, if you do want to support the show, you can do by buying us a coffee. And you do that by visiting buymeacoffee.com/me-the-wife. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can do so by commenting on this video. If you're watching on YouTube, you can click contact the show at the bottom of the description if you're listening to this as a podcast, or all the social media stuff: Blue Sky, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, or email us at me-the-wife and wrexhamafc@gmail.com. Quick shout out for Dragon Chat before we do the quiz. It's a mental health peer support group. They run 2 weekly Zoom calls. One is on a Monday at 8 p.m. and that is for women. The other one is at 7 p.m. on a Thursday, and that is for men. If you want to get on them calls, all the details are down in the description on this video. Alternatively, go to the Wrexham AFC website, find the communities tab, scroll down to health, and there you will find Dragon Chat.
I'm dead thinking about where to put my arms.
What, your big rhino
my
arm?
Big rhino arm, yeah.
Rhino arm.
It's my gladiator name.
Yeah, rhino arm. Look, I promised anagrams, so we are going to do anagrams. You can look down at this little screen in front of us. The anagrams will appear on there. If you are watching on YouTube, they will pop up on the screen for you to play along as well. If you're listening to the podcast, just go to the description. All of the anagrams are there if you want to play along as well. Are you ready?
Yep.
Number 1. Hiya, Darren.
Ryan Hardie.
Wow, you're really...
Sorry!
Really not letting people at home...
I get so excited that I know the answer. So sorry.
Yes.
Let's just say you got that one.
Yes, Hiya, Darren is Let's See If You're Right. It'd be great if you were wrong.
It would be.
But it is Ryan Hardie. Yes. Well done.
Thank you.
Are you ready for number 2?
I got the first one right last time.
I would suggest anybody watching or listening, I would say be ready and be quick.
Or just mute it.
Yeah, maybe. I'll pause it.
Yeah.
Number 2, garden rods. Garden rods. Like I said, that'll be up on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Garden rods. All Wrexham related, obviously, as they were last week. Oh, not so cocky on this one, are you?
Not so cocky.
No. Straight in there with the first one.
I reckon this is the name of a ground.
No.
No?
Well, they're all Wrexham related.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not the name of a ground, no.
It's the name of a person.
It's not the name of a person. I can help you with that. It's not a person's name.
Oh, my God.
No.
So it's not a name. Oh, my God.
Struggling?
Yeah.
I think we sort of said a minute, didn't we, for each one? There are tougher ones than this. I'm surprised you haven't got this one, if I'm honest.
Are you?
Yes. But we're going to have to move on. Okay?
Yeah.
So this one is Red Dragons. Yes. So that is
That's disgusting.
Well, that is... I thought that was quite easy, if I'm honest. So I don't...
That's disgusting. I feel very, very ashamed of
Good.
myself.
Yeah, as you should. Number 3. Lemony Bencher. Lemony Bencher. Yeah. So for anyone listening to the podcast who can't be bothered looking at the description, that's Lemony and Bencher. Lemony Bencher. The old Lemony Bencher. What was that book?
Lemony Snicket.
Lemony Snicket, that was it. Didn't Jim Carrey play that in a film?
I don't know.
Yeah, Lemony
I'm trying
Snicket.
to concentrate. Shut up.
Just trying to fill the air with something, you know. The old Lemony Bencher. I could probably talk about anything.
Is it something money?
It is not something money, no. What can I talk about while Siân's trying to do this? I tell you one thing. We're quite into. There's a YouTube channel called Project Fear. Me and Siân are quite into. We're quite into paranormal stuff, aren't we?
We're not freaks.
No, we're not. We're not. We've never seen a ghost or anything like that, but we do quite like watching all the programs that have a paranormal feel. Project Fear. Enjoy it.
No.
Enjoy it. No? No, you're not going to get this one.
No.
Okay, you will kick yourself with this one. Absolutely kick yourself. Are you ready? It is Rob McElhenney. How do you feel? How do you feel, Siân? Come on.
I feel a bit disgusted with myself.
I feel at this moment, you know, when a player's just lost, like the dream final or something, and you get a reporter sticking a microphone in their face, going, "How do you feel? How do you feel? Go on, tell us how you feel." Bad, yeah, bad.
Shame.
Next one is Conman's Dart.
I hate you so much.
What do you hate? You asked for anagrams.
I know, but
I gave you anagrams.
I know, but...
Oh, God. It's tough to watch. Gotta be honest. You struggling?
Should do a little dance or something.
Me?
No, don't, actually.
No, I want to. Don't worry. Has anyone got any requests for shirts they would like me to wear next week? Siân tried to wear one of my old ones today, and I just wasn't having it. She wears makeup, and they're all got white collars, and I was worried about the makeup getting on the collar, so I just refused. So there we go. I don't think you're getting this one either, are you?
No.
No?
No.
I think this one's quite close to home, very much connected with where we sit. It is...
Macron stand.
It is Macron stand.
Can I have that one? Because I got it before you changed it.
No, because I sort of told you what the answer was in a roundabout way, didn't I?
Oh my God!
It's where we sit. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory, isn't it? If you get the last one, so you got 1 out of 4 at the moment. Your image of being very good at anagrams, I've got to say...
I usually am.
Over the last 2 weeks has been smashed to bits.
It has, but usually I am. And you know I am.
Yes, but you're just not showing it.
Maybe I'm just nervous.
Maybe.
Maybe my brain's not working.
If you get this one, I'll be impressed.
Okay.
Okay, because I don't think you will.
Well.
Here we go. Then the last one is...
Oh, for God's sake.
Bedrock affects wool.
Does it?
Apparently so. Yeah. It's a tough one. It is the toughest one. It's the last one. And I thought had a feeling maybe you'd be on 4 out of 4 by now. So I thought we've got to get a tough one in there to really make you work for the 5 out of 5. As it turns out, you're just trying to save some pride. Oh, have you got it? You look like you've got it. Just say it out loud, and then if it's wrong, we can...
I think it is wrong.
Go on, what were you going to say?
Stoke cold brew. Or however, I don't know how you say it.
Go on, maybe extend on that a little bit.
Stand. Stoke.
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah.
Brew.
Yeah.
Stoke cold brew. Well, it's got F's in it.
Yes, it has got F's in it.
No, I mean the last word that I'm looking for.
Yes, it has, yes.
Coffee!
Well done. So the trickiest one you've managed to get. So maybe I've dumbed it down.
No. You haven't.
Because you've got a really tough one at the end. Stoke cold brew coffee, that is difficult.
Do you know why I
Why?
got that? Because you did the Macron stand before, and I was just thinking of other stands that we had.
Okay.
And then I saw Stoke. Yeah, that worked.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Look, I did say at the top of this episode, we're probably, because of the heat and we're closed in quite a small studio when we record this, we'll probably try and do, over the next few weeks, maybe some shorter episodes just so we can deal with that. No, I just can't stop talking. I'm sorry. I've just got too much to say. And that is just my personality, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm sorry. It is.
You only have to listen to it an hour a week. I have to listen to it every day of my life.
Which you love.
I do love it.
Yes.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Look, thank you very much for joining us again this week. Fingers crossed that Wrexham don't announce a new signing before this episode comes out, because it just looks weird that we're not talking about it if they do.
Yeah, but we've mentioned,
and
though.
if it's an absolutely massive one as well, it'd be a right kick in the nuts, that one, wouldn't it? But anyway, look, enjoy your week. And we'll see you again next Monday. At the amount of times Siân's been staring down her watch today, it's really...
I keep getting notifications, and I keep thinking, they're going to announce something.
I know.
They're going to announce something.
I know what you're doing, but it just has literally thrown me off all episode, because
Sorry.
It's sort of like you're sitting there going...
No, I'm not. I'm getting
tapping the old watch, going, we're still going. He said it was going to be a short one, but look.
It's actually my friends. We're arranging a get together, and it's actually my friends. But so it's not notifications, but
Right.
when it vibrates, I keep thinking it is.
Some people in this room have got more important things to do, apparently, than the podcast.
Well, I don't, because obviously I'm not replying to them, am I?
Anyway, look, let's move on.
Let's just go.
What's next? The end.
The end.
Have a good week, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.